Morning all, sorry we're late. A little bit behind schedule this morning, my bad. Things overran. Still, we're here now. We're here now. So today we are at Heathrow. As you can see, it's a bit miserable on the weather front. And we're heading over to Amsterdam. So we'll probably spend longer taxiing in Amsterdam than we will on the actual flight here, but that's okay. That's all good. Nice little flight, this one though. I always enjoy this one. Always enjoy this one. So we're doing a cold and dark here at Heathrow. We're going to get gone and we'll see where we are when we get to Amsterdam, see where we are with time. It's tricky to know how long we'll have left once we get there and taxi and park. And we can figure out maybe if we've got time to go somewhere else or whether we need to call it a day. We'll see how we go. Right, let's jump into the flight deck, shall we? Get set up. Oh, the aircraft is completely cold and dark. We've got nothing on the go at the moment, so let's jump up and get some batteries on, shall we? And use that external power on the ground. APU master. 3 seconds. APU start. We can align our navigation system. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. Crew, oxygen, arm the emergency lights, no smoking on. Now let's hop and have a look at our tablet here, shall we? And the frames again, the frames are not good this morning. Something's up. Okay, let's import the flight from SimBrief, there it is. And import the amount of fuel SimBrief has worked out we'll need, which isn't much. There we go. And the payload that SimBrief has given us, which is almost a full house. A few empties. Obviously the tickets were too expensive. Hey, Ashy's in, Nick's in. How you doing, guys? You alright? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Oh, and those frames do not bode well.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your captain.
Right, APU is now available, so we'll turn on APU bleed, get our fuel pumps on.
Here and waiting to see final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a
turn off our external power.
Full undivided attention as they review the safety operations of this Airbus aircraft. We do appreciate your business having aboard this flight. If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask. Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. Good. Right, what's local pressure? $1007. Okay, let's have a look in here now then. So, let's brighten this screen up a touch. ATSU, AOC, init pres, init data request. So there we go, that's come down from SimBrief. My flight number is still 737, not 737. Forgot to change that. Whoops. FL temp is -42. Not that we're probably going to make much use of that today. We'll go for Toga. My understanding is that where you've got flex temp, FL/temp, flex temp, -42, that is a calculation such that if you don't want to take your throttles all the way to the toga gates up here, you can go to flex, and then the plane will give itself enough power to take off based on the conditions it is currently in, such as the runway length and other factors. I think the idea is that by not going to toga every time, you're putting less strain on the engines because you're only giving it the power that it thinks it needs rather than all the power just because. That's my understanding anyway, and this FL temp here is part of that kind of calculation. But we don't really make use of it that much. Rock Peddler, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you back in the stream. Yeah, my flight number's wrong. I normally do like NOT then, the plane I'm in. Should have changed that. Never mind. Never mind. Right, what am I doing? What am I doing? Flaps 1. Take off today. UP 0.1. And it was -42. It's to 10. Transition at 6,000. Right. Runway 27 right for us today. And we're using BBK 7F. It's always very nice when SimBrief and the plane both agree where we're going. Sometimes you might get the plane says BBK 7F and SimBrief is like BBK 5F or 6F. So insert that, then into Amsterdam, where are we going? Runway 27. On Redfer 1A. Oh, past it. There it is. Let's just see what that gives us as is. I am not happy with this frames per second at the moment. This is not boding well. Let's step through the plan. So Heathrow, out we go, turn right. Start making our way that way. Okay, so we'll clear that. We're not sure at the minute, Nick. We'll see how we do with time when we get there. That's basically going to be what determines it. So there's Redfer. So, man, what is going on? I might just have to jump into my graphics settings a minute because this feels laggy. What have I got? 4K, DLSS performance. Let's drop that down to 100. We'll do 100, 100. Just put it all on high, see if that helps, and take off ray marched reflections because they don't make any sense. Doesn't really feel any better. Maybe it's just because we're at Heathrow and reasons. Maybe when we get out here, that'll be better. Right, let's put this one back in. Go by Schuylkill. That's the one. So now look. We sort of come and just kiss the edge of the airfield and around we go. We've got our constraints on as well. 7,000 feet. That's looking good. That's what we want. Magic. Look at that. And what's the plan on the way out? So we need to be above 4,000. Then 5. Then be at 6. Stay at 6. Then we can start heading up to... Yeah, stay at 6. Then we go up to flight level 290. Bum, 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 bum. And then it's this one, isn't it? Subal. Between 10,000 and 7,000, so it's given us 8.5. Yeah, that's cool. A nice clear sunny morning. Surely not at Heathrow. It's picking up. Picking up. Right. So we've got local pressure set. And we'll put 6,000 in the window, because that's our limit, and all the other waypoints prior to it are be above 4, be above 5, then you get to 6 and you stop. So we'll put 6 in the window. That seems very reasonable. Right, it's almost time for us to think about pushback.
Flight attendants, arm doors, and cross-check.
Seatbelt lights on. So we've got our APU bleed on and ready to auto. Right, can we pre-plan our pushback today? Seeing as we're in a little bit of a cul-de-sac, I think what we'll do is come back to here. We will request our pushback. Shalise, there you are. How you doing?
Each door is equipped with an evacuation slide that can be detached from the aircraft and used as a ramp. All exits are clearly marked with a sign overhead. If necessary, floor-level lighting will illuminate the top behind the exit. Please take a moment now to locate your closest exit and remember it may be behind you. If there is a change in cabin pressure, 4 oxygen masks will drop from overhead. Firmly pull the mask towards you to start the flow of oxygen. Place the mask over your nose and mouth, pull the elastic bands around your head, and tighten the straps on both sides. Even though the bag may not inflate, oxygen will be flowing. Be sure to put your mask on first before helping others, and we'll let you know when it's no longer needed. We'll be passing through the cabin to make sure we are ready for departure. You can help us by making sure your seatbelt is fastened. Your seat back is upright, your tray table is good, and all carrying items are put away. If you have any questions about the safety features of this aircraft, please don't hesitate to ask. Looking Please use electronic cigarettes as never allowed on any flight. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying smoke detectors and extra expressions is a federal offense and could result in a fine. For your convenience, this aircraft has 3 restrooms, one in the front of the cabin and 2 in the back, and each is equipped with an instant changing table. All vehicles will be cabin lights for departure. If you need a third, they can land above your seat. You're here to make sure you have a safe and comfortable flight. Thank you for your attention, and we hope you enjoyed this experience.
Parking brake on. Not sure about the 737, Jalise. Possibly with an add-on. Quite possibly with an add-on. But I don't think it does it out the box. That's my understanding, at least. Which is to say that could be completely wrong. Okay, it's arm speed brakes. Auto brake max. Lock the doors. Engine back to normal. And we can turn off the APU bleed because we're started. Turn off APU master. Strobes to auto. Taxi light on. So 27 right is basically right ahead of us, so we're going to come out of here, do a right, and make our way down. Good call, Nick, yeah. There's the map. Takeoff config is normal. Oh, wrong one. Cabin ready. There we go. Music should be on, Nick. It's just between tracks, I think. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Right, parking brake off. Let's taxi ourselves down. So I'm toying with the idea of a slightly different stream schedule this week. I don't know whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. It will mean ultimately less streams. Just not sure what to do for the best. think what it is, I'm concerned, and I'd be interested to get your feedback on this. I'm concerned that obviously you all show up for the streams and we have a good time, and I love doing the streams. Don't think I'm trying to stop streaming. That is not what's going on here at all. I'm just very conscious that the other 2,000 and whatever people that sub to the channel that can't make the live streams or aren't really interested in watching a 2-hour full flight perhaps aren't being served as well as they could be. Whether I could make some more standard video-based content for that market. But of course I have limited time for all of this, so if I'm going to do that, something has to give, and what has to give is the current stream schedule. So I don't know what to do. Here's a tricky one. I think in the back of my mind, I wonder if constantly going live is the best way to make the best channel for you all. So whether if we went live a little bit less, but put out more videos, whether that might be better. I don't know. I don't know. Or do we simply use the live flights that we do and derive videos from them? Then it's like 2 birds, 1 stone, but then I feel like I'm kind of reusing content, recycling content. I feel a little bit like a phony for doing that. But if it gets the job done and it keeps the stream schedule alive, maybe that's what we do. Like, for example, I'm recording the flight data for this flight, so I could play it back at a later date, change the weather settings, maybe make it a sunset or something that would be cool for a video, and replay it back, capture all the footage, edit it up and make it like a bit of a showcase kind of approach into Amsterdam, or take off from Heathrow. Do you know what I mean? So, but then for you all, I don't know whether that would be annoying for you, because it's like, well, we've seen this already in the stream and now you're just showing us again. This YouTube business is a tricky old business to get right. I think basically I just need to keep asking questions from you, sort of getting feedback, seeing what it is you want from the channel, and then try and give you that. Long flying. Nick, I'd love to do long flying, I just don't have the time. If I could sit here, Nick, and do a long haul with you all day, believe me, I would. So what we need to do is get monetized. I can quit my job. And we could do long hauls all day. Oh, that would be the dream, wouldn't it? Like, hey boss, I quit. Why? What are you going to do? Go and play flight sim? What? Really? Yep. Alright, so we got lights on. Let's get our degas.
Please prepare for takeoff.
So today I have not used a checklist at all. Normally I've got a little list of kind of like procedures that I go through for starting up. I'm trying to do it without today, so it's possible that we might make a mistake. We'll see if the aircraft yells at us on the way out, shall we? Oh, there it is. The old Heathrow bump. Love to see it. I'd almost be sad at this point if they took that away. It always makes me laugh whenever it happens. At first I was like, oh, that's not realistic. They should get rid of that. No, it's not. No, it's almost like comedy value. Here we are. Runway 27 right. Heathrow Airport. Right, is everybody ready? Seatbelts on. Tray tables up. Takeoff config remains normal. That's good. Haven't accidentally switched anything out. Let's get ready to go, shall we? Thrust at 40%. Wait for both engines to get there. There we go. Well done, Ashy. I knew you would. You're our favourite passenger. Not too much rudder required today, and we're already at rotate. Look at that. Nice and light today. Ugh, judder. Positive rate, gear up. Let's get these screens brighter if we can. Levers back into climb. Flaps up. Some rain over there. And let's make our turn. We'll hand fly this first bit. Let's get that autopilot on now. So we're coming up on 6,000 feet, which is basically our ceiling for the first part of the flight. Hello, Banane. Hope I'm saying that right. Banane, Banan. Looks like it should be Banane. Hope I'm saying that right anyway. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. Glad you're here. Will we get a view of Heathrow as the wind comes up here? I think we will. I can see the reservoirs just coming into view, which generally means we're not far off. Don't think we're going to get to see much actually now, are we? Now we're going into these clouds. What motorway is that? Is that the M25? Just down there? Must be. I think it's the M25. Oh yeah, Nick, we forgot yoke cam, didn't we? Well, let's get these screens turned down now. We're in the middle of a cloud. All right, let's disarm the speed brakes. We'll turn it on the way into Amsterdam, Nick. Remind me as we're coming in on final, yeah? Let's check it works. It's on. Good. Right, at what point can we start climbing? Not for a minute. Not for a minute. $6,000. Then we can start climbing. Oh, I know what I didn't do. Didn't do this. Sorry, I always end up doing this mid-flight. Now I can see what the plane's doing. When we do this. Okay, so about 9 more miles and we can start our climb to flight level 290. Hopefully get out of this cloud. Can't see a damn thing, can we? Oh, there's something. Now it's gone again. The advantage, going back to what we were saying on the ground as we were taxiing, the advantage of me making some more video-y sort of videos as opposed to live streams that turn into videos is we could start using some completely different aircraft on the channel. I know you often say to me, what about the 747, what about 777, what about A330? And the problem is the routes that I have time for to do live are really only suitable for this sort of aircraft, 737, A320, so we're sort of locked into these two, really. Right, flight level 290, let's go. Let's get out of here. Fancy us. It is pretty cold here in the UK, I'm not surprised. I should have kept more of an eye on that. yeah, the advantage of making some other styles of videos in isolation to the streams would be maybe we can do some approaches into some cool airports in the 747 and the 777. When the A380 comes out, we can start flying. Because really, if the A380 comes out, I feel like I could be in a position where I get really excited, like, yeah, the A380's out, but I can't fly it on stream. Not really. Well, I suppose we could, but it'd be really weird to fly an A380 from Heathrow to Amsterdam. Do you know what I mean? It'd be a bit odd. Whereas if we could just make video content around it, maybe doing like the last 10 or 15 minutes into LAX or into Dubai or into wherever, do some replays, show you different shots, different angles after we've touched down in the standard cockpit view. I feel like there could be some mileage to that. But then I am wrong a lot. So, I have to consider that as well. Saying last night about the state of gaming, how everything, I mean, I'm discounting flight sim of course, but like just regular gaming, a lot of games now are free to play. And they rely on people buying cosmetic skins for either their character or their weapons that do absolutely nothing, in most cases, to improve the performance of the character or to improve the performance of the weapon. It's just looking good while you do it kind of thing. And I was thinking, if I was a video game executive sat in the boardroom and someone came in and pitched me that idea, I'd have sent them straight back out and be like, that will never work. Why would someone pay to have their gun look different, even though the gun doesn't perform any differently? You need to make the gun better if you're going to charge it. You can't just make it look different. Who's going to pay for that? How wrong would I have been? So wrong. I saw there was a skin for a gun on Counter-Strike. Again, doesn't make the gun any better, just looks different. It sold for $150,000 because it was so rare and people wanted it that badly. You could buy a house with that. So we are only 200 miles away from the runway, as in track miles, and we're going to be like doubling back on ourselves a little bit. So it might be sensible to start looking at when we need to actually descend, because that's going to crop up on us real quick on this route. So Sugo, 8,500 feet, but that is, we've split the difference there because this is a ranged waypoint, so you can be above 7,000 and below 10. So I think if we go for 7, then we're kind of ahead of the aircraft, and if we do need to make adjustments based on wind conditions, we're in a better position than if we're trying to race our way down to 10. And it's 31 miles until then, so we could probably go for 10. It's a long time to be at 7,000. Maybe 10 is the better play. Stay higher for longer. Okay, so Sugo, how many miles away is that? $125. What have we got from the runway? 6, 3, so it's 9, 11. What's going on? 14, 22, 25, 31, 62, so 60, so it makes it 121. What does this make it? 120. So yeah, this is almost bang on. Because this does not calculate the actual track miles that we're going to do. So our green line that we're following, if that sort of wiggles around and obviously takes longer, this is literally as the crow flies from our current position to that waypoint. Nick, do you know if 747s do that route? Auckland to Sydney? Could maybe be a cool video flight. So we're at 116 to Sugal, and we're going to go from 29 to 10. $70 miles required. So top of descent is in 43 miles. And we're not even at cruise yet. So it's going to be up and then we're down. Oh, I know what I didn't do. Turn my landing lights off. Too busy talking. So we got Norfolk / Suffolk out the left window. Not sure we can quite see it, too much cloud cover. Out the right hand side we've basically got the sea beneath us now because yeah, you can just see the land disappearing. There's the coastline there just beneath the engine.
Gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, your captain speaking. We've just reached our cruising altitude for the flight. As it begins to settle in, I do want to remind you to please keep your feet and elbows clear from the aisle as the flight attendants will be coming through the cabin with galley carts shortly. Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating near the front of the alley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
Sometimes, okay, so they do go on that route then. Do you know what would be typical, Auckland to Sydney? Like if you were to book a flight tomorrow, do you know what you're most likely going to be on? Be like A330, that kind of thing, or? I going to get the biggest aeroplane? You mean the Antonov 225? I see that one's been released. A lot of people are making videos. It's not really my thing. I can see why people like it, because it's the biggest. Therefore, it has a lot of interest in it. It's just not really my cup of tea. I feel like if I were to get it, I would only be getting it just to try and get some clicks on YouTube. I wouldn't be getting it because it's something that I want to fly. Which probably tells me that that's the reason not to get it. Because at the moment you're in that period where you probably could get some decent clicks out of it.
As you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for our approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated until the aircraft arrives safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
I was thinking that if we did go for that route, if we took the channel in the direction that we start making some video-based content, so not doing kind of 1 to 2 hour flights, like we are now with these A320, 737, if we could branch out and start using some different planes, such as 747, such as 777, such as A330, such as A380 when it releases, we could almost branch out a little bit with the liveries. We could maybe make ourselves like an Australian, New Zealandy kind of livery, almost like you get Virgin Atlantic, Virgin America, Virgin Australia. We could maybe make some spin-offs of the Air Not thing that we have going on. Maybe make like a Emirates / Etihad style of livery for the A380, 777s, and do some of the routes that might be typical from that region. Maybe do an American style livery, sort of maybe in the theme of Southwest or some of the carriers over there on the 737. Maybe do like a Air Not Atlantic or something to go across the pond. Similar to like Virgin Atlantic. I don't know, just ideas. Maybe do some freight. Make a little freight livery. Do some cargo stuff in the bigger planes. Yeah, that could be a cool direction to take the channel, I think. What I'm worried about that people are going to keep seeing me in the A320, 737 and just get bored. And as these new awesome aircraft come out, it's going to be hard to put them to use. So 737 does Auckland, Sydney. 838. Now, what is a 737-838 versus an 800, I wonder? I'm just reading here. It says it was originally ordered by American Airlines but not taken up. The order was taken over by Qantas. So how does it differ from a standard? Do you know how it differs, Nick, from a standard 800 variant? Or are they the same? Okay, so someone is saying that the 737-838 is just a version of the 737. Basically depends on seating configurations, that kind of thing. So maybe because it's a longer flight, would it perhaps be that they might have like a class system on board, like, rather than just all economy, that kind of thing? Potentially be it, I suppose. So we're 17 miles out from Schiphol, which is where we need to be between 7,000 and 10,000 feet. And I've set us to go to 9. I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I suppose Auckland, Sydney, Nick, is only like a 3 or 4 hour flight, isn't it? So, yeah, perfectly within range of a 737-8. I guess the only reason they would use bigger stuff is not necessarily because of the distance, but because of maybe demand on that route. I mean, the A330 used to be used for this exact route we're doing now, just because there were so many people that needed to get from London to Amsterdam every day. They used to run an A330. As we've seen, it's not a long flight at all. Right. Time to get us down to 7,000. Because if we look at our plan, get down to 7,000 here and at 220 knots. Then we've got 7, 15, 18, 20 miles to get down to 2,000. Then we come in on final. So actually, not too many steps. Oh, there's the coast. So when is our local transition? I think I saw 4,000 somewhere. Yeah, 4,000. Approach speed of 127. Has the wind stayed as predicted? 190 and 4. So we're coming in on 27, runway 27. So that's essentially a crosswind, but only at 4 knots. So that should be fine. Should be fine. I love how the stats think we're now in cruise because we've levelled off at 7,000 as part of our descent. I'm just wondering if we can get up to Newcastle after this. We'll have time. I think we might do. Okay, so here we got to be at 7,220 knots. Then after that we'll wriggle around, do a bit of a U-turn, we'll come back in on final. So around here on this turn I believe we've got to be at 2,000. If we zoom out a touch we'll be able to see that. Yeah, so 2,000. Basically by the time we get to final we'll decel here before we make our turn. Which that turn then can be the point that we can start doing flaps. Then we'll be at the right speed. Oh, actually wants us at 220 knots there, that seems a bit quick. But then we do actually have quiet, just at 20 miles. Not sure about that, that wants us to drop 100 knots. In like 10 miles while descending. Not convinced by that one. Not convinced at all. Hey, we're nearly here, look. Oh yeah, thank you, Nick. Yeah, we'll do that. Once we decel, make that final turn, I'll get it on during that turn. Well reminded, thank you. So the airport should be right ahead of us, there it is. So here's our runway here, I believe. Runway 27, which puts us right in range of a gate. Oh no, that's a taxiway. Here's the runway. Here's the runway. We'll come off here, get into one of these gates, get ourselves turned around and see where we've got time to go to. We're at now 10:30, 11:30, 12:30. Still got about 2 hours. So we'll probably get somewhere in that time. Alright, 2,000 feet, let's go. Whoops. Why isn't all that scenery popping into detail? All these houses over here look like they've melted. Alright, decal's coming up. That D there. So we'll enter approach mode. Basically, any second. So it's 2.5 miles into a decal. Those little dashes, basically 2.5 miles, because we've got the scale set to 10. So out here's 10, 7.5, 5, 2.5. Obviously this is us. There we go. So because we've got the plane in managed speed mode, it is now going to try, see it's got there in the magenta text, 128 is where it's trying to get to. We're going to need some speed brakes because we need to descend and get our speed down. Get some flaps out as well. So when we go flaps full, because we're an autopilot, the speed brakes will go away as well. I think they go away in any case, autopilot or not. Local pressure is 1006, I do believe. Yes, it is. Good, this is looking good. We're slowed right down. We're on pace to get to 2,000 feet by... basically by the time we finish this next turn we're about to do. We should be in business. So let's get the landing system on. Camera on. Hi. Go. So we're beneath the glide slope, which is always a good start. There's 2,000 feet. Auto brake medium. Lights are on. Speed brakes armed. Gear down.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
One last turn, and we're good to go. Yeah, we're not using the yoke, we're on the joystick, and the throttle's over here. Right, that's it. This is final. So, there's our runway up there. Scenery loading in, the nearer we get. So at this point we're just waiting for this diamond to start coming down, because we're going to maintain 2,000 feet, which means obviously then we'll intercept the glide slope. I suppose we could try approach mode. So the wind is not as advertised at all. What's the wind doing? 260 and 5. What did this say it's going to do? 190 and 4. So I think we could be at risk at some point during the approach. The wind will just snap and it will change to what the EFB thinks it is. Very real risk of that happening. We'll keep an eye on that wind, because that could definitely cause us problems on short final. Right, glide slope intercepted. Good. Gear down, auto brake medium, spoilers armed. Everything's looking good. Keep an eye on that wind. Definitely getting blown to the right here. Wow, yeah, this is quite windy.
1,000.
This is very windy, actually. I'm having to put a lot of input in. You can actually see it now, thanks to the yoke cam. We're snaking. Right, let's get ourselves on that centre line. Whoa. This might be a rough one. It was very lumpy. Whoa.
500.
Here we go.
$400. 300.
Yeah, that wind has completely changed on us now. This will be a little bit of a crab as we come in.
200. Minimum.
Land.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
There we go. Whoa. Lots of rudder pedal there. That was windy. Lots and lots of rudder pedal. Whew. I was expecting a nice easy one there, and that was not easy at all. That was not as advertised. Still, we made it. We made it. Alright, let's get the map back. Nice lumps in the taxiway again. Yeah, that was tricky, that one. As soon as I turned the autopilot off, You could just feel the plane getting thrown around. Very lumpy. There's sometimes when you land, it feels like you're just looking at the instruments, you're looking at the runway, and it's just, all you've got to do is just keep everything lined up. Whereas that one, it was like you were trying to keep everything lined up while also compensating for the wind throwing you around. It's much more difficult. Really fun though. This'll do. Let's just get parked in here. Right, parking brake on. Put the anti-ice off. Wait for this to come to life. Come on. Just waiting for these to get some values. Yeah, that's good fun, that landing. I say, while it wasn't like... certainly wasn't kind of a landing whereby everything was perfect. But it was good fun. I think given the circumstances, we did alright there. Alright, engine's off. I need to stop it doing that. Every time. Okie dokie. So, let's go back. Now, looking at the time, and we get to Newcastle. Bear with me, I'm just making us a flight plan. Yeah, so air time of 1 hour, so if we get gone quick, we should be alright. Let's head up to Newcastle. Go somewhere different on the way back. Alright, everything here looks good. Turn beacon off momentarily. So import the flight plan, EHAM, EGNT, good. Fuel. There we go. Payload. Slightly full on the way back. Let's look at our flight plan real quick. Oh no, we don't. I need to start again. This is where I get confused. Like, if it's a cold and dark, I know exactly what to do, but if you have to sort of clean up the aircraft when you get to the gate, I feel like I'm starting slightly out of order, and it really confuses me sometimes. Okay, zero fuel weight, center of gravity. Confirm. Flight plan, EHAM, departure. Runway 27. We're going to do Burge 2P. And then into Newcastle. ILS 25. That's weird. Let's see what that gives us. Because that is not what SimBrief is saying at all. Okay, out of Amsterdam. Put this into plan. Keep on heading up. Rim tow. Okay. And where do we go? Keep heading north. Yeah, great. This is what I wanted. So we basically go up to the airport, much like we did coming into Amsterdam, sort of kiss the edge of the airport, out and around, out to the coast, back in on final. Perfect. That works. Good. Right, performance. We'll do flaps 1 again for takeoff. It's minus 52, I believe, for flex temp. Not that it really impacts us today. Transition altitude is only 3,000. Okay. That's okay. Right, I think that's good. Let's get doors shut. Jet bridge gone. And we'll think about pushback. Oh, local pressure's changed. 1005 now. It was 1007 on the way in. Okay, let's get APU bleed on. Everything's looking good up here. Now, do we have any constraints? What my phrase for a second? Dipping again. Stupid computer. Need to buy another one. I really don't need to buy another one. It'd be a bad idea. No constraints. Straight up to flight level 380, so let's not mess about. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Isn't that a song? Oh, Smokey and the Bandit, that's what it is. Right. Arm the ground spoilers, auto brakes max. Come on. Hey Buffalo, how you doing? Long time. Don't fly back? Why not? We're not technically flying back, we're flying somewhere different. We did Heathrow to here, and now we're going up to Newcastle to get back. Get back to the UK. Okay. Oh, didn't mean that. Okay. How you doing anyway, Buffalo? You okay? It's been a minute since I've seen you in the chat. Nice to see you back. Are we going to start our turn? Why is it not turning us? But now it is okay. What is it doing? It's turning us at like 90 degrees on the spot. I didn't ask it to do that, I'm sure I didn't. Okay, well that's probably the most unrealistic pushback yet, but whatever. Alright, engines are getting started. Flaps 1. Get some taxi lights on. Everything's coming to life. Goody gumdrops. So once we get in the air, it's about an hour to Newcastle. So a little bit longer than what we had today on the way over. Right, let's get the APU bleed off. APU master. Taxi lights are on. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing at least one thing. Engines back to normal. APU is available. TCAS is on standby. Yes, it is, because we're going to taxi. So if we do takeoff config now, what's he going to say? Yeah, normal. Sweet. Cabin, it says to check. Why is it saying check? What's going on with the cabin? No, it's happy. They're happy now. Don't know. Right. Let's go and find our little runway, shall we? Get up to Newcastle. Hopefully we won't get lost. Although I fear that may have already happened. What's the wind looking like in Newcastle? 3, 10 and 12. Ooh. Could be even worse coming into Newcastle. Still, never mind. It makes for good viewing, so... No, this isn't us. This is not our runway. We need to go across this one. God, the frames. What's going on? You know, I was thinking last night, I was just like, you know what? I really love Flight Sim. We're just so lucky to have it. Just one of those moments where you appreciate what you have. It's kind of awesome to think about it. The fact that the game kind of spawned my interest in making a YouTube channel, which means I got to meet all you guys and you got to meet each other. There's so much good that came from the game. There's such a nice community. You compare and contrast it to like the Call of Duty community, which can be so toxic, so unbelievably toxic. Whereas over here it's so much nicer. Right, Nick. We'll do the camera for takeoff once we'll hold short, get everything settled, and what just happened there? I think the wind just changed while taxiing because we just got almost blown to the side. No, we haven't finished. We are just taxiing. AV Geek, we've come from Heathrow this morning to Amsterdam, so we're at Amsterdam now. Just landed, turned around, and we're just taxiing, and we're going to go to Newcastle. So we've got another hour or more yet. So we're just going to hold short runway 27. Get everything sorted. and get gone, so you're right on time. It's nice to see you, by the way. Thank you for coming. There we go. Right, parking brake on. Sort out some lights. Good. Got the camera on for takeoff. So we've got auto brake set to max, local pressure set, 38,000 in the window because there's no restrictions on the way up. Speed brakes are armed. Everything else is looking good. Right, let's go and get ourselves lined up. Oh, hold on. That's what I forgot.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Yep, AV Geek, your timing couldn't be better. There we go. Oh, don't like these frame dips today. Don't like it. Don't like it, don't like it. Let's get ourselves a little bit over to the left and then bring it around to the right and we should be in a good spot. There we go. Right, obligatory drink of coffee. Cheers everyone. Everyone ready? Right, let's get throttles, hold it on the brakes, engines to 40%. Let them both get to 40. There we go. Why is my parking brake on? I don't remember doing that. Alright, parking brake off. We'll try that again. Throttles to 40. Let's go. Okay, toga thrust set. Frame dip. Noted. Oh, you can feel that wind again here at Amsterdam. Got a lot of right rudder pedal going on at the moment. A lot of it. Alright, rotate. Whoa, you can really feel that wind. Positive rate. Gear up. There it goes. Thanks, Amsterdam. See you next time. We'll fly the first little bit by hand. We've got a bit of a chicane almost. Leave us back into climb. Just following those flight directors, that will keep us mostly on track in terms of speed and where we need to be heading. Back over to the left a bit now. You still feel that wind? I just felt it there. It must be hard for you all watching because if you sort of see the plane like there, it just sort of nudged around, you might think, oh, that's just me on the joystick doing that. Okay. Only thing I find hard about flying by hand is that we've exceeded 250 knots. And the speed is set to manage. Maybe we need to not do managed speed. Maybe we need to do like 210 then 250. Because it almost, if we don't climb enough, it will overspeed. Flight level 380, Nick. Oh, not Nick, sorry. AB Geek. Yeah, head into Newcastle. You should be able to see the little green line on the map. On the mini-map there. Through the clouds, just. Alright, standard pressure. Ground spoilers armed, we no longer need that. Seatbelts remain on. Yeah, we did flight level 290 from Heathrow, which was just right because we just got to cruise and we maybe spent about a minute or 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Then, based on our calculations, it was time to descend. So it was almost optimal, really. So it was up and then straight down. It's really not far from Heathrow to Amsterdam. That view. We were saying it's a fascinating route because it's really not far, but then A330s have been used on it just because of volume. Lights off. Oh, they already were off. Right, I'm going to be back in 2 minutes. I need to go and turn my air system on because I am slowly being cooked in this shed by the computer. Alright, that's better. Where are we flying tomorrow? Not sure yet, Nick. Not sure when the next flight will be. Current thoughts are maybe either Wednesday or Thursday. So Wednesday it'll be this time, Thursday it'll be in the evening. Maybe we do both. It may be I use the time tomorrow that I would normally stream in to maybe make some sort of a video instead. And get that out on the channel, the the following day perhaps. It is tough because one has to come at the expense of the other. If we make a video, then we can't stream as much. If we stream more, we can't make the videos. So I'm trying to find that balance, really. Trying to find out where that is. So I'm going to be a little bit less, what's the word? Officious, I guess, with my stream schedule. Maybe let the stream schedule sort of flow, ebb and flow a little bit more. Then we can start using some 787s to make videos, A330s, 74s. And it's good for me as well, because I feel like if I just keep flying A320, 737 on the streams, then I get to fly nothing else. And I'm sort of not building up my skills in other aircraft. So the videos are a nice way to explore other planes that I wouldn't otherwise get to fly. So yeah, we could do like a 747 approach into Sydney. That kind of thing. Make a cool video. Not be limited by the 2-hour window that I have to stream in to get 747 up from somewhere and down. Alrighty. Let the passengers out. And we will think about when we need to start descending, because 310 and 12, so we're landing at 2.5, so that's a delta of 70 degrees, which is nearly 90, isn't it? So that is nearly a complete crosswind at 12 knots. Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be fun for sure. So, what's the plan on the way in? Need to get down to 16,000 for Urquhart, then 12, then 9, so Urquhart. How many miles to Urquhart? 228. Is that roughly as the crow flies as well? Roughly it is, isn't it? Well, it's not actually, is it? Right, let's count back. 5, 7, 10, 17. 38. 48. 56. Okay. So it's about 264 to Urquhart. And this thinks it is 219, 280. Wow, so that's like 40 miles out. So whatever that is, we're like 40 miles more. $38,000 down to 70 miles. And this says we're 215 away, but we're not, because it's 40 more. So this is more like 255. So when this says I'm getting this right, when that says about 30, then we do it. So top of descent is 190 miles away. Vision Jet. Yeah, like I say, it could be fun. Could be fun to try some new things. That's right, so we're cruising at flight level 380. Just to show you the plan again. Then by here, we need to be at 16,000. Then we start going like 12, 9, like sort of stepping it down. But if we go into the performance page, or the progress page, which is this page here, so Urquhart is the waypoint, we need to be at 16,000. It's saying the distance is 203 miles. Trouble is, that is as the crow flies from our current position, so if you imagine the plane is sort of like over here on the map, it's measuring that 200 miles in a straight line. It's not accounting for this kink in our flight plan. So actually adding up the distances, this is about 40 miles too short. So instead of when this says 70 miles, we'll start descending because it says we need 71 miles to achieve 38,000 to 16,000. Instead we'll wait for this to say 30 miles, because we'll be about here, and the distance will be 30 miles, but the distance we will travel will actually be the 70. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I may have explained that quite badly. Are there any Gulfstream aircrafts coming to the sim? Apparently there is. Apparently there is. So on the 29th of November last year, there was a news article saying a developer called Cockspur were making a Gulfstream G650. Made by an indie developer. It's coming very soon, and they'll have more info shortly. Like Gulfstream kind of feels like the private jet, doesn't it? I guess you got this. Is it the Citation? Yeah, whenever someone says to me private jet, I almost think Gulfstream. I guess we have the citation longitude, don't we? Oh, you went to an air show, nice. Awesome, awesome. Right, let's cruise.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, your captain speaking. We've just reached our cruising altitude for the flight. As it begins to settle in, I do want to remind you to please keep your feet and elbows clear from the aisle as the flight attendants will be coming through the cabin with galley carts shortly. Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating near the front galley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the AN225 earlier. I don't have a huge amount of interest in that aircraft. Is that terrible to say? I feel like if I were to do a flight in it, I would literally be doing it for YouTube clicks at the moment. Just because like it's the new thing, and like most people are doing flights with them on their channels. It's sort of not my thing, really. I said flight level 380. I did, and I can see why you're confused because the stats at the top don't say that. However, my altimeter does. So, I don't know what to tell you. Right, how long have we got to go? I'd say we're about 120 miles from top of descent, if I've done this right. If I haven't, then we'll be circling Newcastle to lose altitude. We must be coming close to land now. Yeah, I have actually. So I've kind of thought about it, but yeah, it's a tricky one. I don't know. I guess I could do like the obvious. You kind of know that some YouTubers are going to do like landing it at Saba, yeah, those kind of videos. They don't really do a lot for me, those kind of videos. I can see why people like them. It's just not my thing, really. I think I like flying the stuff that I am likely to fly on myself as a passenger. And the chief exec of PMDG was saying about that. He was on a podcast recently with Filbert Flies. And he was saying, like, they've got all these lovely ideas for aircraft that they would like to make. But ultimately, the market wants what the market sees when the market goes to the airport for their holiday. So, A320, 737, 747, 777. Oh, they've already made... Yeah, okay, they've already done it, fine. That didn't take long, did it? I mean, it makes for a clicky title and thumbnail, I guess. I kind of feel like that's probably not my audience, though. You know, if that... Say you made that video, Antonov 225 landing at Saba. You may well get 1 million views, for example, but those 1 million people are not probably going to care about the rest of my content. I think there would mostly be what you would call like drive-bys. Now then, if a simmer wanted to make, like, I've seen, what's it, 737NG driver. He's been making loads of really high quality videos about it. Love that. That's brilliant. But making just kind of like meme-y content isn't my thing, really, I don't think. Not only that, it's like £17 here to buy it. Which I know isn't a lot of money, but I feel like I need to keep a bit of a lid on what I'm spending on the sim at the moment, because I've spent quite a lot recently on the Boeing yoke and then all the other stuff that had to come with it to redo my setup. Loads and loads of cables and stuff. That was like nearly another £100 to redo my setup on top of the yoke, which I wasn't necessarily expecting I'd have to do. Then if you start buying airports and you start buying planes, it very, very, very quickly, over the course of a year, it's like, oh, I've spent like £1,000 on flight sim. So I'm trying very hard not to let that happen. Especially with PMDG being like $60, $70 a go. That's can add up. I told some gamer friends the other day, like, how much I paid for the 737, and they were like, "Are you serious? I wouldn't pay that for a game. Never mind, like, an item for a game." I definitely see the value, though, in PMDG's work, so I've got no issue paying for it. And it's sort of an investment in the channel. I'll get the 777 for sure. I hope they release the 300 first, but I've got a funny feeling they're not going to. They'll probably do the 200. I don't know why I think that, but I kind of see it going that way. So I might hold off for the 300, much like I did with the 737. Wait for the one I actually want. Just get that one, and then, because again, otherwise you fall into the trap of spending and spending and spending and spending, getting every little variant, every this, every that, and ultimately then it's not a lot of difference in them, really. Do I have any friends that also like flight sims? Because all your friends make... Yeah. Yeah, that was me too, Jalise, don't worry about it. Rise above it. I was about 10 years old when I first got into flight sim. And yeah, my friends just completely teased me about it. Telling me how silly it was, how silly I was. Saying how boring it is, why don't I play a proper game? Yeah. I feel like by the time I was 12 or 13 I'd heard it all. And there comes a point where you just stop caring what people think. I think what it is, a lot of people don't quite understand how involved it is. Like, yeah, you can, if you're just a casual player, spawn on the runway, throttles to full, pull back on the stick, get the thing up in the air, and vaguely maybe land it or crash it. And then for most people, that's it. That's kind of like, tick, I've played Flight Sim, that's enough. But if you're interested in aviation as a whole, the detail that the sims offer, the detail that the planes offer, it's kind of like a rabbit hole of learning, and I think that's what keeps me interested. And yeah, I don't think my friends fully get that at all. Some of my friends like the longer haul content I do, just because they sort of use it as like background content, but they've got no interest in hearing me on the ground kind of doing a cold and dark, you know, press this, then set that, and do this, and this is why we're doing this, and so on and so forth. I'm not interested in that at all, because they're not interested in aviation. So it's, they would probably be the ones that would be interested in me landing an F225 at Saba, because they'd be like, oh, that's funny, and then they move on to the next thing. I was 10. I think I was 10. I can tell you the first time what it was, what started it. There was a place called Sega World in London. I don't know if it's still there. I don't think it is. I think it's gone now. But basically it's just a place that's just full of arcade machines from Sega from over the years. It's almost like an exhibition. Incredible place. And when I was a kid, my parents took me to London, and we went to this Sega World place, and in Sega World they'd made a flight sim. And it was sort of, it's very arcadey. Like, there was no, like, you didn't need to know what you were doing. It's kind of like they just drew boxes in the sky and you had to fly from box to box like little waypoints. Much like you can do on this if you turn it on. You know, like when you land, you sort of fly through the boxes to help you stay on the glide slope. And it had a yoke and it had throttles, and I was just like, oh wow, this is so cool. And it was like a big jumbo jet sort of thing that you, I don't know whether it was a 747, it was just like a generic big plane that they'd made. So it wasn't detailed in any way. I was hooked. I was like, I said to my dad, like, can we get one of these at home? And he sort of laughed. I was like, of course you can't. And then we discovered that Microsoft Flight Simulator was a thing, and we just had a new computer built, which was very powerful and could play the flight sim, so we got that. Flight Sim 2000. One with Concorde on the box. I saved up and bought a Microsoft Sidewinder joystick because they were all the rage, and that was that. But again, I wasn't playing at any great deal, like not like I am now. I was like literally just like spawning at various airports, taking off, doing a loop and landing, and feeling good about it. It wasn't until much later on, probably in the last 2 or 3 years, that I really got into like the detail of it, like the aviation theory and learning stuff, studying it, I suppose. (10:30) in Sydney. It is 11:30 in the AM here. It's not even lunchtime yet. I'm hungry. I feel like as soon as I eat breakfast, I'm immediately like, right, okay, what's for lunch? I think lunch is like my favourite meal. Right, let's have a little check here, see what's going on, shall we? Have I got this right? How many miles to Urquhart? 16. So that's 46. So sort of when we get to Urquhart, I suppose, which is just about there, that'll be our top of descent, because that will give us 75 miles. That's about right, isn't it? It's about right. Right, destination data. Let's do that while we wait. Hey, Harry. How you doing? Yeah, it's not time for lunch yet, AV Geek. As much as I would love to stop for lunch, it is not time yet. That doesn't mean I don't want lunch, though. I'd eat lunch at like 10 AM if I could. Temperature on the ground 6 degrees, 3:30 and 9. Ooh. At least the wind is dropping a bit. What was the temperature on the ground? 6. There we go. Oh, we're turning. Happy days. Always love planes, but only got into simming because I went on a holiday on a plane and that did it for me. And then I was looking up yokes and said, yeah, it's a slippery slope to these, you know. Once you get the bug, that's it. I mean, I saw like a Reddit subreddit the other day of like A320 home cockpit builders, and it gives you like plans so you can go and buy NDF from like the hardware store builders and like cut it to exactly the right shapes and fit it all together, and you've basically got the frame of like, you know, like all this sort of stuff here, and you start drilling holes for all these buttons. I was like, no way, like I can't keep looking at this because I'm going to end up building one if I'm not careful. The trouble is, if I built an A320 cockpit, I know what would happen. I'd be like, oh, what about 737? So I'd almost need to make a cockpit that was my own, that was basically like an A320/737 cockpit, but generic enough in all the buttons that it could operate all types of aircraft. Right, we need to keep an eye on top of descent. So 16, 30, 46, 74. So basically, as soon as we get to Rimto... No, wait. As soon as we get to Urquhart, and then we've got a curve, so it's not going to be... yeah, once we start turning, I think, once we're partway through the turn. Yeah, this is the last one, unfortunately, AV Geek. I've got to go and do real life after this. Sad though it is. It's alright, we'll get the channel monetized. I'll quit my job and I'll sit here and sim with you all day. How's that sound? Yeah. Yeah, what's up with that? Right, here we go. Time to go. 16,000, let's go. It was alarming. My TV just put up a message saying the TV will turn off in 5 minutes unless you press a button. It's like, quickly, press a button. Alright, here we go. Too bad we can't see much. The clouds are nice though.
From the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for our approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated till the aircraft arrives safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
Setup tour. Yeah, that's on the back burner a little bit. I don't know if you were here, Jalise, when we were talking about that. I'm wondering whether I need to sort of loosen the grip on my stream schedule a little bit. So doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I do Monday morning, Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning, Thursday evening, all local to my time. However, I am wondering if that is the best approach for the channel. Oh yeah, well done, Nick. Yeah, I will do when we get near. When we get to the airport, we're going to turn and head out to the coast. So remind me then, and we'll pop it on because I'll fly the last bit when we get onto final. So yeah, I'm wondering whether simply just going live over and over again is the best thing for the channel. I know we all enjoy it. It would mean less streams would be the only thing, but it would mean more videos on the channel. Because in order to make in order to make a video, a stream has to go. So this week, if I decide I'm going to make a video and not a stream, then a stream has to go in order to make the time for the video. Something has to give because I've only got those 4 windows of time really to make anything for the channel. So if I'm making a video, I'm not streaming, or if I'm streaming, I'm not making a video. So yeah, it's a tricky one to get right. What I can say, speaking personally and a bit selfishly, I prefer streaming this time of day. These times work well for me. And they seem to do better. In terms of like watch hours and things, these streams in the morning do better than my ones in the evening. I'm not sure why that is. Perhaps I'm less consistent with doing them in the evening, so people don't always show up as much as they would for these, because these ones are almost set in stone. And with it being the end of the day, like I'm a bit more tired and I'm a bit more like... It takes me a while to get going, to sort of come out here, get everything set up and do it. Whereas in the morning, it's like, I'm ready to go. So I'm wondering whether the evening slots might be better off as more like video production time versus streaming time. Keep the streams to the Monday and the Wednesday morning. I don't know, it's hard to know what to do. It's one of those where you can please some of the people some of the time, I think. No matter what I do, someone will be like, oh, I'll do it the other way's better. So I think I just have to do what's right for me and hope that that's okay with everyone else on the whole. And yeah, like you were saying, Nick, by making more videos, we can use more aircraft. Because the length of flights we do on stream really is only suitable for what we're in now, and the 737. Are we getting close to monetization? Not too far off. We are at 3,250 watch hours of the 4,000 required. But that's within 12 months. So I think it's sort of like June, July time that we really started getting good numbers from the streams, which is when my watch hours started to take off. So if I don't get there by June, it's almost like a rolling 12 months, so I think we should get there. I think probably April, May we'll get there. But I will say the streams have been performing, I wouldn't say worse. Well, yeah, they are a little bit worse actually. The streams aren't performing as well as they did, which is another indicator to me maybe I need to change something up. It used to be that a stream would get me 24 to 40 watch hours per stream, whereas now a good stream is like high teens. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Maybe just constantly going live over and over again, people have got a little bit bored and fed up with it. Right, turn coming up. I say coming up, in a minute. Yeah, it's a funny one. When we first started streaming, like, it was almost like you could almost guarantee that you'd start streaming, you'd get like 2, 3, 4, 5 people watching, then all of a sudden it'd go like 10, 15, 20, 25, 35, and then it'd bounce around between 30 and 40, almost for like most of the stream. But then you look at the time that those people watched and they would average like 30, 40 seconds. And that doesn't happen anymore. So I guess that is YouTube working out who actually wants to watch this kind of stuff, and then not offering it to them again when it turns out they only watched for 30 seconds. Whereas now the average viewer is like beyond like 5 minutes. Like we're over 6.5 minutes today on average. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but actually if you consider you are still going to get some people that click on the video, don't like it, close it, realise it's not for them. That obviously cuts your averages right down. Right, there is 16,000 feet. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule. Whoops, right. So 16, 12, 9,000, 3, 5, 2... Got a speed restriction at Etz's. Things in a touch. Yeah, 10 miles out. You love the streams. Oh, that's nice. I'm glad to hear that. And I love doing them. Like, this isn't me trying to wriggle out of doing streams. Like, I really enjoy the streams. But I'm conscious that we have like 2,800 people in the that are sub to the channel, and in general, about 1/4% of your audience will turn up to your streams. So that means 99.75% of my audience, the streams have very little value to them, unless they rewatch the whole thing. But I don't really think people rewatch streams after the fact, not that much. Maybe like your super fans might, but in general they won't. So for that 99.75% that remain, maybe some extra videos might be good. There's one streamer that I watch, he plays a lot of Call of Duty, a chap called Westy. He has got nearly 900,000 subs. And then he gets about 1,000 to 2,000 people watching, which sounds like loads, and it is loads. That is so many people to have watching you play a game. However, as a percentage, that is about 1/4%. Alright, let's go down to 12. Once we've cleared this constraint. There we go. Down we go. How would you feel about streams where instead of doing a full, like, starting on the ground somewhere, what if we started mid-air? So I don't know, if we did like the last hour and a half, 2 hours into LAX in a 747. Though I do wonder if that might just be a bit boring, because I think a lot of people like the cold and dark and all of that stuff. And actually the start of the stream would be arguably one of the most boring parts of the flight, where we're just looking out the window. Oh, it's so tricky to know what to do. Right, 12,000. I need to go 9. I need to be at 220. Goodness me, we're going to struggle with that. That's a long way to go down. Speed brakes. What is our transition? 7,000. Alright, so we are not going to make that waypoint, are we, at 9,000? Absolutely not. So we need to go straight down to 3.5. See if we can recover. I don't know, we might make it a little bit. I think we'll be about 1,000 feet off by the time all is told. Let's get some lights on. Go auto brake 2. And we've got transition coming up in a few moments. Airport is dead ahead, although we can't see it. About 20 miles ahead of us. Got a little bit more speed to lose here. We need to go down to 185. Which is good, because once we get to 185, that will... 000. Yes. That'll mean we get to our destination slower, which means we actually have more time to do the descending. Get through this cloud and hopefully we can see something. Yeah, that's right, Nick. Ah, here we go. Yeah, we're getting low. Look at that. Let's get those speed brakes away now. scenery looks really bad today, doesn't it? It all looks like it's melted. Then it all sort of pops in. That'll be the River Tyne, is it? Is that the river that goes through Newcastle? So there's the airport, there's our runway. We're getting a little bit of ice. Alright, 2,000 feet. We've got decel just as we come around the corner here. Now then, the last time I did this flight, we got out to this waypoint here, and instead of turning to the left, the plane just went around to the right. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on it big time this time.
$2,500.
Gear down.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Get that speed down and under control. Right, is the plane going to turn to the left or to the right? Gotta land it, Shanice. I got gear down as well this time. Okay, so we're turning to the left. That's a good start. Get our landing system on. Glide slope is well above us, which is what we want. Okay, yoke cam is on. Hi. What's that wind doing? The wind actually is as advertised, 319 and 20, so I'm hoping that it's going to drop a little bit because it's saying on the tablet A330 and 9. Oh. Clouds have entered the chat. Yeah, don't worry, Janice, I'll ruin it. It's Newcastle, we have to. That's the rules, right? Were you here when I landed without any gear down? Well, today we make that right. Today we land properly in Newcastle. Okay, so we have got full-on crosswind. Look at that, look. Hitting us directly from the right. This is going to be a crab and a half. Let's get approach mode on. Just see if we can get the ball rolling. 20 knots as well, that's quite a lot. Hopefully it will drop the nearer we get down. The flight wasn't a return. We went from Heathrow to Amsterdam, then we went from Amsterdam to Newcastle. So it's like a multi-leg thing, though I'm realising now my thumbnail's probably completely incorrect. But whatever. I did change the title. Alright. Let's have a go then, shall we? But the wind doesn't seem that gusty, at least. Let's keep that back pressure on. Go.
$1,000.
Just a touch over to the right. Sort of try and catch that centre line as we crab. You kind of get that feeling once you catch it, you know, and then you just hold it. Wind is starting to drop a little bit. Touch on the low side, but I'd rather be on the low than the high.
$500. $400. $300. 100 above. $200. 100.
Whoa, lots of wind there.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Go on, down you go. There it is. Flipping heck, that's a wind. Hey, crosswinds. That was rubbish. Sorry. That stutter at the end didn't help either, but that was mostly my fault. Oh, I can still feel it. That was a big wind. That was a tough landing. That I need to work on crosswinds a lot. Crosswinds are not my specialty. Yeah, I thought that was going to be a hard landing. I mean, we flared quite a bit at the end there, but... yeah, the wind really pushed our... The way you've got to think about it is, it's almost like the tail of your airplane is like the sail of a ship. So even though the wind is coming at us from the right of the aircraft, it's hitting our tail, which is going to push our nose to the right. And it seemed like no matter how much rudder I gave it on the left there, it really, really, really wanted to pull us to the right. Like, really wanted to pull us. Yeah, always get a stutter at the end there. There's only one thing for it, at least. I need a new GPU. It's the only thing for it. That's the other advantage of doing some videos and not streams, is that I can just keep redoing them until I get them right, and therefore practice things like crosswinds. Yeah, 4090. Rob will pay. Thanks, Rob. He's going to crash me into the tug, isn't he? Alright, parking brake on. There we have it. We made it into Newcastle just. That was a really hard landing, that one. That was really tricky. Really tricky indeed. But still, good fun nevertheless. Right, is that APU started yet? No, it hasn't. Yeah, maybe on reflection I needed to go harder on the left rudder input. I think that was possibly my mistake, that then took us out to the right. Had I been harder on the left rudder input, that would have... because you have to use the left rudder to obviously bring the nose in line with the runway, which I was struggling to do anyway. Then I think I just let up a little bit, which then obviously pushed us to the right, hence the snaking down the runway. Yeah, the flare saved it. The flare saved it for sure, it's just we were a bit off the centre line and a bit late. That was a tough landing though. Tough landing, that one. Right, let's get engines off. Stop me doing that. And I'm going to have to leave it there, I think. Real life beckons. Thank you all very much for your company. Thank you for your time. That was some interesting landings we had there this morning, both at Amsterdam and then slightly more interesting just a moment ago coming into Newcastle. It was all good fun. Not entirely sure when the next stream will be, but I will. I'll schedule it whenever that is, so that you can hopefully see when it's going to be. And until then, you will take the best care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.